Let's turn our attention to some of the other games that we have not gotten a chance to dig in on. Kansas, we've gotten a chance to see Kansas twice already. Jayhawks 2-0 on the season. Now we get just a rivalry with so much hate. I mean, there is no respect here. It is not clean. It is not old fashioned. This is like dirty, angry hate between Kansas and Missouri. Now, will it play out on the field? I don't know. These teams play each other enough to be able to have that, be instigated. But yeah, it'll get violent in the stands, and that palpable energy always seems to bleed over. Now, what do we know about Missouri? Missouri's 2-quarterback situation turned into a 1-quarterback situation real quickly due to Sam Horn's injury. Bo Pribula coming in and taking over. Scored a boatload of points against Central Arkansas, but it was Central Arkansas. Danny, what do we think we know about Missouri here that'll be important for this matchup?
I was kind of surprised at how much they ran Pribula. Like he was one of the leading rushers. He had 2 touchdowns. I was kind of, impressed with the way he moved the ball. We know what Jalen Daniels can do for Kansas, but operating in that system, and correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Sam Horn supposed to be the mobile one? And he actually got hurt on a run, and that's kind of where they were leaning.
But all we saw from
Pribula's always been,
Yeah,
okay, because he ran Wildcat with Penn State last year. He would come in and do some Wildcat. So it does look like that offense might be a little bit more quarterback run heavy, which I know online this morning I saw some numbers about how much quarterback run is up across the board. So just something to keep an eye out for from that one. And they're going to have their hands full with Jalen Daniels running the football. So it's hard to get a whole lot from that. But I do think, having that type of performance, and sometimes I don't want to diminish anybody, but sometimes it's more of a distraction when you have 2 quarterbacks, like who's going to be the guy. And so if injury resolves that and you have to go with the guy, it can almost just be, all right, now we know what we're building our game plan around. We know who's going to be out there.
You mentioned the amount that they ran Pribula last week. To me, I mean, again, this is the first game of the season. Sam Horn got hurt. So who knows? Like, obviously, Eli was talking about before the game that the plan really was, they were going to play both. And then Horn gets hurt. Now Pribula's playing the full game. But if you look at the numbers, and again, it's just one game. Like, you're surprised that they ran Pribula so much against that team. Why were they running him so much? What don't they want him doing? What's the possible concern there? So it's an interesting spot, because my biggest concern about Pribula has been his ability as a passer, because I've seen him do the QB run game at Penn State. I knew he was fine with that. It's just if you're going to rely on him to be your starter. But we've also seen Mizzou, if they can go with Pribula and Ahmad Hardy and just kind of really lean into their rushing attack to try to, control the ball, not screw things up, and then rely on their defense to be outstanding, that's a formula that can win for them. But another concern about it, though, is looking at the numbers. I mean, according to PFF, he scrambled 9.4% of the time he dropped back. And quarterbacks who scramble are typically not seeing it. Like, it's so there may have been more pass plays called, and I haven't watched the tape, so I can't say for myself. I got to trust this data. So he scrambled a lot. That's a problem to me. He was also pressured on nearly 20% of his dropbacks, which against that team, that's a problem to me, because one of my primary concerns about that team was losing both of their tackles. It's like, I don't know how that offensive line is going to look, but it's the first game. But the problem is they're going into their second game. This will be Kansas's third. So they're a little further along, and we have seen so far in their games against Fresno, and then last week, I can't even remember what FCS team they dog whipped, but it was an FCS team. Like, that's been a very explosive offense to start the season. They are hitting big plays. Jalen Daniels is making big plays, but he's similar to Pribula in that they don't really seem to be all that confident in him dropping back to throw the ball either. So the edge in this game could just come back down to which one of these quarterbacks can complete some passes.
I think Missouri's defensive line, a group that we pointed to in the preseason, that playing at home, you get Jalen Daniels in 3rd and long, obvious passing situations. You take away some of the dynamic aspects that you would get in terms of trying to defend against the run and the pass. Wasn't Kansas one of the best 3rd and long teams in the country last year?
I don't remember. They might have been.
Was it like late and long was, I think, the conversation? We might have talked about it with Bill C in our preseason chat, but that's Jalen Daniels just making stuff happen. you might be able to make stuff happen against some defenses in the Big 12 that you're not going to be able to make happen against Missouri, especially when you're playing on the road. So to me, one thing I'm going to be looking at is whether that Missouri defensive line, which we seem to be in agreement on, is probably the strongest aspect of that team. That might be a group that can win this game by stopping the run, forcing them into 3rd and long, making Kansas a little bit more one-dimensional, because Kansas's offensive line is going to be better when they are not in those obvious passing downs. So that's one thing that I'm really keyed in on, especially with the game being in Columbia.
I would say too, Jalen Daniels, he is that big game hunter. He loves the big shot.
Yeah.
Make him throw the ball more underneath, play that kind of shell coverage on the back end, make him be patient, because that's where I think his one deficiency is, sort of the middle to underneath type throws. So make him work the length of the field and see if you get him to force one, because he's going to want to get that big play.